FISA court, well, it's not really a court, just a single judge, reinterprets the law. That's great, because they've been changing the law and not even telling us. Now they're going to let us know. Isn't America great? The USA Freedom Act. Offer void where prohibited by law. For Infowars.com, I'm David Knight.
And by the way, this is the transition now to complete global corporate government. Not free market corporate, but big robber barons with their own hit teams, diplomatic immunity that command NATO. The TPP, government by secret corporations where you can't see the documents, and the corporations are grabbing all your data and recording what goes on in your house, and the CIA director goes out and shoots his mouth off laughing about it, how dumb we are. Well, I'm not dumb, and I know you people are a bunch of crooks. Coming up, stories, the top story on Infowars.com. Economists, financial elites, fear-provoking bank runs. A U.S. senator says use mafia laws, anti-mafia laws, racketeering laws against anyone who doesn't believe in global warming. Just like they've called for in Europe. Boy, these are really liberal people. We don't want to pay a carbon tax to the UN and Al Gore. How bold of Al Gore to own one of the main carbon exchanges that you'll have to pay money to. I mean, this is sick. Obama owns part of the trading group in Chicago on the Mercantile. They want to put you in jail. Oh, and don't worry, the TPP, part of the documents that have been leaked by WikiLeaks, they want to basically push the carbon tax as well. And there's some good news. Obama's trade deal faces bipartisan peril in the House. That's from the New York Times. That's coming up in the next segment. But getting back into the USA Freedom Act, what an Orwellian, ridiculous, over-the-top name, a fraud wrapped in a lie, wrapped in another scam, deployed by the mainstream media. We have Mitch McConnell, the leader of the Senate, running around saying there is no illegal spying, your rights are not being violated. The same thing Marco Rubio is saying. This is really a battle right now between the forces of deception, the forces of truth, and will lies and outright con artistry. That up is down and down is up and black is white and left is right. Will this be the victory of these fraudsters? Because we've had dozens and dozens of whistleblowers from the NSA go public. We have the actual NSA documents and schematics about how they're spying on everything. Big corporations are doing it. And then they just get up there and say, no one's violating your rights. Nothing's happening. Move along. Where'd you get these droids? These aren't the droids you're looking for. Move along. Move along. I mean, are we that dumb? Here is Mitch McConnell trying to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. But he's not a good guy. So I guess it's trying to be Darth Vader. Here it is.
And so today the Senate will vote on whether or not we should take one more tool away from those who defend this country every day. The ability of a trained analyst under exceedingly close supervision and only with the approval of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court to query a database of call data records based on reasonable, articulable suspicion. No content, no names, no listening to phone calls of law-abiding citizens. None of that is going on. We're talking about call data records.
Man.
And these are the provider's records, which is not what the Fourth Amendment speaks to.
All right, let's stop right there. No, it's your personal papers and effects. This is how lawyers scam you. They get you to focus in on one little area about metadata and then claim that they're not spying on anybody outside of that when it's on record they are. In fact, anybody can type in NSA spied on Senate, CIA spied on Senate, CIA broke into Senate computers, beyond what Nixon did with the plumbers. You can type in MI6 blackmailing Parliament. All these governments are doing it. Of course these politicos want access to this. Even though it's bringing them down. The Patriot Act was used to go after Hastert. as disgusting as Hastert is, and he fits the bill of one of these pedos, got to say he's innocent until proven guilty, still, it's not a terrorist. I mean, you don't suspend his constitutional rights to catch him. And the argument is, well, we got him. Really? It's better that 10 guilty men go free than one innocent man go to prison. I mean, this has been done before in history where you suspend due process and it creates hell on earth every single time. So remember, they denied there was any NSA spying before. Remember that? And now they had to walk it back and go, oh, okay, there is, but there isn't. In fact, they just found an article there about spying on Congress. Spying on members of the U.S. Congress, DOJ tapped congressional rooms as well as reporters' offices. That's right. They even went and hid microphones in the cloakroom and the break room of the senators. Without warrants, the Justice Department stuck microphones in private areas of the Capitol, wiretapping hardcore felonies. This is the same group that shipped guns into Mexico. Okay? I mean, that's the type of stuff going on here. I want to get back into the whole NSA situation because we have a major whistleblower joining us coming up. But you've also got other activities going on. Sepp Blatter, the head of the worldwide FIFA soccer system, has now resigned. They've arrested dozens of people. What is it, 40-something people? And it's our government acting as a global government. And it's almost bizarre that they would be engaged in economic warfare to get the World Cup to the U.S. instead of Russia. But it's not even being done for U.S. interests. That would be still villainous, but not as bad as the fact they do everything they can to make sure that the United States doesn't have industry, doesn't have jobs, and is dependent on globalism. But these politicians want it here because they want the payoffs, they want the graft, they want the world stage for themselves to project themselves into global government positions. These are the most narcissistic, peacock-like people you can imagine. And I'm not defending the FIFA and all of its obvious historical corruption, but it's a private global soccer system. It's their business. The United States has no business when we have incredibly corrupt sports system. I mean, probably one of the most corrupt in the world. We don't have any business being involved in this. The FBI arresting a bunch of people in Switzerland at a FIFA convention. And now it's this big distraction. Meanwhile, we have the Justice Department engaged in basically every crime under the sun and not getting in trouble, setting the precedent for even more of that in the future. I mean, it is scary. So that's just one of the articles I have here in the stack. Let me just give you the headlines here. George W. Bush outpolls Barack Obama. WikiLeaks offers a $100,000 bounty for Asian trade pact published and pushed by Obama. So they're offering a $100,000 bounty for Asia Trade Pact to be published. And what I understood was WikiLeaks has the whole thing. And so they're just fundraising, saying, give us money and we'll release it. But by the time it hits Reuters, they're acting like WikiLeaks is saying, we've got a bounty out to get the rest of it. So I went back this morning and looked and found articles saying WikiLeaks has it and chose to leak the subsections on the internet. So I'm confused because I've called for Assange to release it all. But maybe he never got it all. Maybe that was a mistake in the media. I don't know. Assange needs to clarify that because I still haven't decided if I trust him or not. We know in the war between corporations and governments and other corporations, kind of that trifecta. Again, corporations and government waging war, corporations waging war with other corporations. Within that triangle, the separation of powers that's still there, even though they're trying to circumvent it. The founders just put separation of powers in very clearly so that you never get too much power in one branch. Within those competing factors that are out there that thank God they're there, that's what restrains tyranny from just absolutely taking over everything. Within that, WikiLeaks is undoubtedly releasing things that tend to favor Google and tend to favor key globalist corporations that are vying to be the global government. See, all these corporations are pushing global government because whether it's ExxonMobil or whether it's Walmart or whether it's Apple or whether it's IBM or whether it's Microsoft or Google or whether it is Miller Brewing, they're all on these globalist boards. They all get more power out of the global government getting more power because they set it up. They're like ring wraiths who serve the one ring, and they all think magically that they're going to end up being the head honcho one day. They all lust after the ring, seeking it. So to understand the global power structure, that's what you've got to get in their mindset. Because even though they can get burned by it, even though they can get run over by it, they're all pooling their power into it because they already get increased power out of it. And as its power increases, the more wildly, the more laissez-faire they get about tyranny, and the more arrogant they get, and the more they get away with, the more insane they get. The more power lust they get. Heard of wanderlust? What about power lust? It's called megalomania. Hedge fund mogul Paulson gives Harvard a record $400 million donation. It's all part of the mafia that then sends out the people to write the regs in government. So that's a protection payment. Actor Robert Duvall says he may vote for Rand Paul. That's up on Infowars.com. Maybe the THX1138 star says. Native American student sues to wear eagle feather at graduation. You can wear a Harry Potter shirt, but you can't wear that because it's seen as religious. Hey, you can wear whatever you want as long as it's your own private religious expression. You can talk about Christ if you want, or you can promote Baphomet if you want, unless it's in the rules of the school that you can't have any logos. But once you're graduating in a separate free speech event, it's been held by courts, you do have that right. But it just shows the mindset of these people. And there's another one here. Space invaders, feminists, neuter male. And now people are actually being arrested for mail spreading. If you open your legs more than 3 inches, you are arrested in New York. So the feminist Nazis, to use a Rush Limbaugh term, feminazi, they put the edict out, the police act. People say, why does everybody follow their orders? Because the state is teaching them they have power, not individually, but to carry out the mandate to create divide and conquer strategies. Speaking of tyranny, Senator says use racketeering laws, that's anti-organized crime laws, to prosecute global warming skeptics. That's right. A sitting U.S. senator is suggesting using RICO laws and should be applied to global warming skeptics. This is from the Weekly Standard. Mark Hemingway reporting, writing in the Washington Post, Sheldon Whitehouse, a Democratic senator from Rhode Island, offered a curious suggestion for dealing with global warming skeptics. It's not curious. This is they're actually arresting people now in Europe and trying to do it in the UK. Doesn't matter the satellites say it's getting cooler. It doesn't matter what all the evidence shows. It doesn't matter that the northern ice cap got bigger. Al Gore said it'd be gone by 2 years ago. In 2006, he said it'd be gone by 2013. It doesn't matter that they changed from ice ages coming to global warming's coming by the 80s and 90s to now any climate change is humans and is going to kill us. The climate's always changing. Well, that's an arrestable offense. They claim that because I get up here and say this, I'm part of an organized crime group being paid by oil companies. Really, which ones? ExxonMobil, BP, British Petroleum, of course, and Dutch Roll Shell and others are the main givers. After Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan, they're the number 3, 4, 5, and 6 donors to the whole global warming shakedown fiasco. It's like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson going around saying, we're going to call your company racist if you don't make $1 million donation to us. And, you know, his daughter stepped in a crack in New York sidewalk and is suing, saying it blew out her knee, and then she's caught on video and photos and puts on her own Facebook her climbing mountains. Looks like a mountain goat, too. And I used to be irreverent, but I just do that now to just let the feminists know I have First Amendment. I used to be chivalrous about that, but see, they've used our Western chivalry against us. The so-called